Peace, man. What's good? Ephraim here. Man, let me tell y'all, today we're gonna talk about patience. And I did not even expect to end up here. If y'all seen in one of the past videos, I came by the water. It's one of my favorite spots in my hometown, Buffalo, near Black Rock Park. And we in a beautiful golden hour, you feel me? The sun is setting. And I just needed to come, ground. And I needed to talk to y'all about this subject because I've been wanting to make this video for so long. And it feels like everything in my reality is just showing me patience. Like every aspect of my life at this point in time is pointing back to, you know what? Let me give him this little challenge, right? Let me give this moment and see how he responds to it. And you know, it's funny because I definitely feel like I'm growing in the process. You know, I've grown a lot in the past couple years, but right now it's like we have different topics each week, and I look to embody it best I can. I really think, you know, I think for y'all, like, all right, what can I say? What can I learn more about that can help be valuable to somebody else? But when I think about this topic of patience, it's like, man, as much as, like, for instance, today I was listening to a video and it was talking about our cognitive functioning and how we have our reticular activating system, right? We have our reticular activating system, and then there's like a confirmation bias that comes in life where, you know, whatever we fixate on, whatever we focus on, it's gonna show up more in our reality. And there's been a lot of things, especially up until recently, like I've been focusing more on the positivity, like how am I better in my life? But also, I just got to this point where, y'all know, I'm making my journey to Chicago. I signed my lease this week, you know, a couple days ago. And I was going back and forth with the agent from like the realty company for so long because I was asking them questions. And like, it's been like more than a month now, y'all. And because y'all remember when I made the trip, I met him. But then I was like, okay, can you tell me more about the apartment? And I was looking at one apartment. They actually denied me because of my credit. But then he was like, okay, hold up, I have another option. I'm gonna go talk to this landlord. He's like, we're gonna run your credit again. Boom, they did that. And then he's like, oh wait, it seems like you have more things on your profile than like we thought. Like it might make it a little bit more challenging. So I'm just like, dang, like I already knew, because I'm rebuilding my credit. I already knew, like, all right, it's not ideal. Like I'm not above a 650 right now, but I've been confident. I've been like, you know what? This is gonna work out. Like it has to work out. I know I'm meant to be here. I've been persistent and just, man, really setting my intention, being in Chicago, you know, knowing however God works it out is gonna happen. And even this video I was listening to from a really dope podcast today, it was really talking about the idea of being delusional, funny enough. But like a key part that this lady, I like what she mentioned. She was saying that you don't have to actually know the outcome or like see the outcome for it to happen, right? For it to work. And when I think about like so much of my manifestation journey, right? Me growing week after week, but also just reaching towards like, well, you know, I could be the highest version of myself, right? And I've been thinking like, as much as I want to be like, yeah, maybe, how do I put this? because my frequency is on this level, or because I'm having such a spiritualized experience or whatever. It's like everything I think about one moment, the next moment I'm proved with, or I'm given something that proves like what I already think. You know, it's like, in summary, that's how it's been feeling. And I like to think, well, yeah, like this definitely is God's way of showing up, giving me confirmation and signs with these synchronicities in my life. But at the same time, also, I would say, could it be that it's actually my mind and like what I'm fixating on? How am I thinking, right, with the neuroscience behind it? And what am I actually doing? Not only would I guess the spiritual practice of like having faith with my works and, you know, being persistent and consistent in that way, but just the fact that I'm affirming myself, I'm allowing myself to think in a completely different manner than what I've been accustomed to, like majority of my life. You know, I wasn't thinking like, oh, I'm just gonna up and move to Chicago, or I'm gonna live in a new state by this time. I'm 27. Well, actually, I can't say that completely, because I did think I was gonna move, but it's like I didn't know it was gonna happen this way. You feel what I'm saying? Like when I was working a job as an engineer last year, I was like, oh, I'll probably be here 2-3 years. I'll make a bunch of money and my life is gonna be like so much easier. It's gonna be so much more organized for me to get everything I need in order and like be in alignment to be like, okay, now is ideal for me, right? To do X, Y, Z. Now is the best time for me to move, you know, for me to feel like I'm secure in my decision. Then mind you, that's when I felt like I had this whole moment, like people talk about dark night of the souls, these tower moments, when I was working this job as an engineer and I just realized it didn't align with the person that I knew I wanted to be and who I truly feel like I'm meant to be, right? I didn't feel like I was challenging myself in a manner that I could, like my full capacity, which is something I've been thinking about over and over again. You know, like I'm not the type of person who likes to be mediocre. Like I don't, to be frank, like sometimes I feel like I've been or I am an all or nothing person, you know? But take these glasses off. It's a beautiful sun right now. Just look at it. Oh my gosh. All right, I'm with y'all. But nah, man, like I say all that because I had this complete idea in my head of like, I'm gonna work, you know, I'm gonna be responsible and I'm gonna do everything in a way that pleases my family, right? Like, you know, my mom will be happy about it. You know, I'll be responsible. Everybody's ego will feel validated because I went the conventional route. I did what I had to do and I got myself in that position. But when I just started to see like it was actually bothering my soul to be working in this job where as much as I appreciate it and I'm grateful for the opportunity, it's like my creativity wasn't flowing. You know, everybody was resistant to new ideas. It was very structured in this specific system, right? That's been the status quo. You know, meaning like this is the way that these people have been doing things for 25, 30 years, right? You know, I'm a younger person and I'm new to this environment. And even though I know I have value and perspective to bring, that might not be the value that this organization, right, the culture that this company has, that might not be the value that that culture is looking for. And so when I realized that, I just know the type of person I am. I'm not okay with being complacent, and I'm at such a level of the more I started loving and respecting myself, the more I've trusted my intuition, right? The less hesitant I've been, because I'm like, you know what? This just doesn't feel right. And why should I make myself believe that just because I'm making X amount of money, right? Just because I have the idea of security, I have some health insurance and some benefits, that this is the best thing for me in my life, when I can really trust myself to be led and be guided on my own path, right? And it's like now that I've afforded to give myself that freedom, you know, I'm doing all these deliveries, I'm making ends meet. Like, yo, I'm about to go to Chicago and I'm about to challenge myself as much as possible because I'm completely changing the trajectory of my life. I've just been learning so much, like getting more into sales, getting more into entrepreneurship. And I actually have an idea, I have a framework where like, oh, this makes sense. Like I can see myself doing this. And even then it's like going back to the conversation and the topic at hand earlier of like being delusional. Even like within the realm of what I see, there's so many bugs out here. Even within the realm of like what I see and believe to be possible, like that's cool, but why not accept the fact that my life can be so much better than what I perceive it to be? You know what I'm saying? Like there can be so many greater things that I didn't even know about. And the more I've actually been challenging myself, like I've been in Atlanta, I went to Chicago and like just going into these new environments, meeting new people. I've been in these different communities, like I've been getting mentorship, like just learning, quite frankly, but like exposing myself to new people who actually do what I want to. Yo, these books are crazy. People who actually do what I want to do. People who actually live their life as an entrepreneur, have, substantial income, but also just like a means of sustaining and, their own way of living that's not tied to a 9-to-5. And just seeing it over and over again, like even in sales, like people having days where somebody might make $10,000, $20,000 in a day. It's just like, wow, why not me? Like that's been the main thing. I've been hearing this echo in the back of my mind, like, why not me? Like what makes me not be able to do that? Like why is it not possible when there's so many people on the internet, on YouTube, who are doing it? And I've really just had to, I think about this one thought, this one idea of like manufacturing my confidence. Because what it comes down to is what I'm hearing a lot of people who are successful, they're saying and they're giving this testament of like at some point in time, they had to figure out their way to develop the confidence. Like it wasn't just that when they were at the point that they arrived and they automatically became confident just because they said, okay, now I'm gonna do this. It's like, no, you have to do it with all these bugs. See, look, do it afraid, do it scared. Even as they're attacking me, I still have to make this video. But I don't even have to. It's just a choice to do it because like, well, what's gonna stop me? Like, why should I let inconveniences along the way stop me? This is what I mean. Like, like synchronicities. Like, I should keep going. Even if I have to change directions, I should keep going. Because it doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't stop me from enjoying the process. And it's funny, I really wanted to flow with this one. I be wanting to flow all the time because that's just how it comes to me. Really, it comes through me, to be honest. I just really feel this like in my soul, in my spirit. But I did have some notes too. I know I'd be saying like, all right, I'm gonna look what I wrote down, what the script is, but no, it's a couple points that I wanted to make known, right? And for instance, it's something that I searched up earlier that I was thinking about. Let me see if I still have it on my phone. So I searched earlier about this conversation of what is 5D, right? Because, I didn't even show you guys, like today I'm wearing my shirt. In this video, we're talking about patience, but specifically patience while being in limbo. Like this whole display, me going through the motions is crazy, right? Because I have so much on my mind. But like even how I got here, I've been doing these deliveries because I'm like, I'm making as much money as possible so I can make sure I can afford my couple months for the lease, like my rent, because I secured the apartment. I just need to have all the money. And it's like, I might not know where it's gonna come from. I even called and I was like, all right, let me get my U-Haul. And then they told me the U-Haul is like $700 to go one way. And I'm like, geez, like that's crazy. I dropped my glasses. I'm like, that's crazy, but it's really not, because I don't know what is it supposed to cost. But even that, it's like, all right, why would I let the fact that this costs money, why would I let that be a deterrent or stop me from my goals? If I know I'm meant to be here in Chicago, like I'm literally seeing people along the way. I'm like in the grocery store, and there's so many specific people. That's why it's crazy. It really is like a synchronicity type thing, because I'm just like, wow, what would be the chance that I see this person along the way? And I seen one of my guys, right? He actually, shout out Kenny, because I seen him in the grocery store, Kenny AD Runaways. And yeah, he was in the last show that I did in Buffalo before I left my hometown. You know, as an artist, I go by Edo Langston, and I did this show, and I had like a series of shows around this theme, and I did a Divine Feminine showcase with a bunch of amazing female artists, women artists, you know, from the town. But that was the Divine Masculine version, the last show. And I had like my bros on the lineup, and it was just crazy because we hadn't even spoke. Literally, like we hadn't spoke in a while, like almost months, probably months. But then he just hit me up, and I'm like, I needed 2 more people for the show. And he was like, all right, like, yeah, I could. I was like, well, what do you think, bro? I'm doing the show. Would you like to be a part? He's like, I'm honored you would have me. And then he actually hit up my one bro, Genesis, who was another artist. He was like, I hit him up. He said he'll be a part of it too. And I'm like, wow, that's crazy, because we never were able to do anything like really. Besides, he put out a track that I produced more recently. But the whole time I was in town for like 2 or 3 years, we never manifested anything, if you know what I mean, in our collaboration. Even though we like had great conversations, I spent time with his family, like, you know, we exchanged, and I feel like gave life to one another. You know, I learned things from watching him and his creative artistic journey. He's a dope artist. But it's like, you know, when you meet somebody and it's like nothing happens in that moment, like 2 to 3 years, it's very easy to be like, well, dang, like I guess it's whatever, like this relationship doesn't mean anything. And I'm not gonna hold you, part of me maybe like felt an aspect of that, like the ability to be jaded and to be like, well, dang, I don't know, they're doing their own thing, like I might as well do my own thing. And that's not bad, that's not negative, don't get me wrong. But what I realized was, by being patient, even the people sometimes that we can count out, or we can believe counted us out, they might come back around, and they might play a very important role in your journey. And like, it just goes to show, it's like, wow, like how is this happening that like I'm getting ready to leave? He's like, it's like, what's up, you in town? Like, you visiting? I'm like, well, yeah, I'm getting ready to go to Chicago. And I think that's when he said, he's like, oh, you're visiting Chicago? And I'm like, nah, I'm moving. And he's like, what? And like, yeah, like what's out there? And I'm just like, man, opportunity, that's it. And even then, we didn't even have a long conversation, because I'm like, I just gotta, you know, I gotta get to work, man. But you know, it's time to lock in. And you know, I'm thinking about y'all, like how much I wanted to make this video so many different times, but like earlier I had to charge my phone, had to charge the mic, and I'm like, all right. And then I even went to like sell some clothes today, like, cause I was like, I'm just getting extra money. Like, I had some Timberlands that were too big for me that my sister bought, and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna take some clothes. They didn't accept a bunch of things, but they told me like, they were like, all right, we'll give you a price quote, come back in like 2 hours, we're gonna text your phone. I start driving, in like 10 minutes, they tell me, all right, we're done. Like, you can come back to pick up whatever we don't take, and we'll have the money for you. They have the cash. So I'm like, all right, I turn right back around. And it's just crazy, because it wasn't even a whole lot, but it was just something that helped me along the way. And now ultimately, it helped me get my time back, and it just helped me see things differently. Like, you know what? I have things that I can exchange for value. Like, maybe I should, I don't know, go about it this way. Like, all I'm saying is that these are things that just help me look at my reality different. And it's, you know, one thing to be in line, like in my soul and in my spirit, like really be open. But also just with that openness comes, how can I think differently? How can I perceive my reality different and come up with these different solutions? And that's where it comes back to. So, all right, so what I said to y'all, I looked up what is 5D, because it's like, you always hear this thing, right? And it's so many, oh my gosh, so many spirals, right? With time. I have this shirt. Shout out my guy, Amine. I don't know if y'all know Amine. He's a dope artist from Portland. My family, fun fact, is actually, my brothers and whatnot are in Portland. And one of my brothers actually mentored him when he was in a youth program, Amine. But this project Limbo is a really dope project that I like from him. But I wore it today because it's this concept of, man, like, we have to have patience in these moments in between, in limbo. Like, to be able to just look, like, just stop. Let me be present in the moment. Like, look at what's in front of me, y'all. Like, this water. I know we already said it, but like, I gotta get y'all a little close up on that. It's so much beauty, like, in life and just in the moment, to where I'm like, why should I take it for granted? Like, why shouldn't I really appreciate what's going on in my life now? And I think it's important to have patience, because so many times I've wanted to, like, quite frankly, rush the process. And like, God has just been showing me, man, like, even since last year, I'm like, yo, I want to be in Chicago but then I just got a message, right? Even something else I was just listening to, and it's like, it's always this confirmation telling me these things that, like, you know what? I needed to hear that, because so many times we'll want to be in a place, but then it's like, yeah, but if you went then, you wouldn't have been ready for it. You know what I'm saying? Like, in my opinion, I'd be like, you know, I feel like I would adapt or whatever. Like, oh, if I receive this thing, but, and that could be, you know, my ego talking or whatever, but I'm just saying, like, nah, I really am. I'm a flexible person, but I don't even think it's about that. It's about, well, no, I'm gonna give this to you in the ideal time. Because even that being the case, even if I can't adapt, me being well prepared for the experience, like, that makes it even more enjoyable, right? That makes it, maybe there's this one little exchange that needed to happen, and a whole new opportunity is created from that. Just because instead of me doing or having an opportunity 6 months ago, I have the opportunity now, like, after I've gone through things, to be able to share my experience and be able to have some type of understanding, right? This understanding to be like, I've gone within and I've done the hard things, right? I've felt emotions and feelings that I don't need to hold on to any longer. And I guess I keep spiraling around the conversation with all these mosquitoes and whatnot. I want to go back to my car, y'all. But it's like, no, the whole topic about 5D is like, when I looked it up, right? 5D is more so, it's a bug right on this camera, that's crazy. 5D is more so about not looking at the 3D perspective of like what's right in front of us, right? Because if I say my needs, my basic necessities, my wants, my human experience, that's when we go like, okay, this is more the 3D, right? Every day, like, I want to make this amount of money, or I need to have this amount of money so I can get in this apartment. But 5D is such a greater perspective, because I feel like it takes more into account the spiritual, the metaphysical, the elements of how can my reality change overnight without me really even thinking much about it. It's a dog. He's just running. But how can my reality change without me even thinking about it so much? All right, these bugs are getting crazy. I'm definitely about to get out of here. These bugs are getting crazy. So the point, right, is that, let's see, when it talks about, I want to see where it talks about 3D. So what does it mean, right? What does it mean? So 3D, it says, 3D is looked at as the physical world of separation and duality. And again, that's where we talk about the physical. But the thing that I liked after that, it talks about 4D. Okay, here we go. 4D being the bridge, right? If 3D is the physical plane, 4D is where people begin to shift away from looking for external validation and into this place of emotional and energetic healing, right there, well-being. And it's funny, I feel like I started doing a lot of that emotional work last year. That was a lot of me being in Atlanta and embracing this idea of, okay, we're in a liminal space. But it's funny, like even as I was typing out like a title for this video, I was thinking about it. Like having patience in limbo is like the main idea, but also this patience is in the liminal space. Is like, that's originally what I wanted to say. This we're in this liminal space, but also what I actually typed was patience in, oh my gosh, I'm still posting this video. They're trying to attack me. Patience in being, patience not just in the liminal space, but being the liminal space, right? So being in between, that's the whole point. Because a lot of times I looked at it as like, oh, you know, when I get to this point, I'm gonna be out of the in-between, right? Say when I go to Chicago, when I'm able to do, yo, this is crazy. When I'm able to do the things. Oh my gosh, I'm running. Why are you running? Why are you? I'm having patience and getting through this moment, right? Because I'm talking to you guys and these bugs, they love me so much that they're just all around me. And I'm just vibrating so crazy that, you know, they keep surrounding me. And a lot of times that's a metaphor for life, right? Like there's a lot of people that can be like bugs, that can be like insects, or just like different events, different things that happen that can want to distract us, take from our attention. And I've dealt with this a lot more recently. But it's funny, as I've learned so much of that emotional well-being, like literally when I tell you, I've talked about it with, even when I met up with my guy and like people in general, emotional regulation and emotional intelligence is just such a valuable skill. And I say that because it is a skill, like we can develop it. You know, it's not always intrinsic to everyone. But when you learn how to really regulate yourself and your emotions, when I started doing that, it made my life so much easier. And I'm starting to see now, I'm really reaping the benefits. Like I'm seeing the physical manifestation as I'm like, all right, I've been doing all this work in progress and it's coming to fruition, right? It's becoming fruitful. That's what I mean about like kind of going beyond the liminal space. And I feel like I've always wanted to feel like, oh yeah, I'm exiting the liminal space. Like that's what I want to say. But at the same time, why can't it be more of a state of being? And that leads me to the 5D perspective, when it's like 5D is more about the collective consciousness and this idea of that, you know, anybody can access this higher state of being, right? Oh my gosh, these joints. Anybody can access this state because it's like we're all collectively a part of it. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, as soon as I realize that, I don't have to feel like, oh, I need to go receive some external validation, or when I do this, when I achieve such and such, that I'm perfect enough to actually get what I deserve. It's like, no, man. All I'm seeing is like the constant between all these successful people is that they didn't give up and they actually decided that they were ready. Like they took, those leaps of faith. They put themselves out there. They weren't afraid to show the raw, unedited perspective of being swarmed by bugs and insects all over your body. And they knew that God is the greatest. So it's like, yo, this is so crazy. I'm about to end this video with y'all. But yeah, man, Oh my gosh, they're actually chasing me. They're actually chasing me. But nah, literally, it's so funny because I seen one thing on here. It's talking about like living authentically. And like as soon as we do that and we stop thinking about what's going on externally, and like a lot of what I've been receiving is like what other people think. Stop caring about what other people think. Just make the video. Just make the content. And this is so crazy. But I guess this just needed to happen today for me to learn something from it. But yeah, I'm definitely posting this. It's just crazy that as I've been getting to this point on my journey, I'm like really right there, man. I'm right there, like starting to accomplish a lot of aspects of my goals. But I just realized that this is the beginning because it's never going to stop. Like it's never gonna be like I fully arrived at my goal, because as long as I'm alive, this whole life is about progression. It's about growing and learning new things. So like, that's why when I come on here, I'm like every week, I want to week after week to in some way like be better. But even when I think about like last week, I'm like, ah man, like the video didn't do as well as I wanted it to. It's like, that's not really what it's about. And it's actually wild because I literally heard somebody say that in their video today. But it's like clearly I needed to hear that, because being able to just be, to exist again in that liminal, and to be patient with life and what's happening in the process, like know that that is the process. Like you are the journey. And so I'm looking at that for myself, and it's like I don't have this figured out. I literally do not even know where all of the money is coming from, but I just know that I'm not gonna let physical 3D things stop my journey and stop my growth. Like I'm gonna keep going. But sometimes it's so easy to get like emotional and upset about the way things are going, when it's like instead we could just choose to really self-soothe and regulate more, like breathe and be open to what life has in store. So I feel like that's more of what I've been embracing in this in-between. And yeah, I'm at the space in between me getting into my car and being swarmed by bugs. And you know, I was swarmed by a lot of bugs, but it's kind of over now. You know, it's not really as many, and it's getting darker, but they're kind of over there. So I just stepped away from the water a little bit. But yeah, this was a beautiful moment. And I feel like I was just meant to share that with y'all, because I've been thinking so much about this, but like being patient has really been so rewarding for me in my life. Like being able to just like stop for a moment and just be like, damn, like this is life, and it's really beautiful. It's really beautiful. There's so many things going on that I can be grateful for. And the more that I focus my mindset on that gratefulness and that positivity, that is what I want to also program my mind to see. The reticular activating system, right? The confirmation bias. Why instead of, I've had this thought the past couple of weeks, like why instead of ruminating on negative thing, like what's going wrong in my life, why not focus on, wow, all these things went right. Like there's so many things that I can't even explain all to y'all of like, oh shoot, when I did this, I acted on this happened, I got this outcome. Like, right, I was actually open, I communicated with people, I was honest about my circumstances. And so many times it's just worked out for me. And I would say like for me, having that faith where it works is it's confirmation bias of truly. Because every time that I've set my mind and meditated on like, yo, like God is gonna work this out. And like me putting my best foot forward, like I'm always gonna be provided for. Like I'm not gonna have any issues because I have great intentions. I'm a beautiful, amazing person, right? I can affirm myself, and life is just gonna show me that. And I'm gonna meet new people. And like the more that I've been thinking like that, it's like, wow, it's really getting better. Like, for real, I'm thinking about like, I'm not even attracting a bunch of negativity. Like I have in the past, but like, since I've just changed, and I would say inside out, like spiritually, and like I've felt my intention become different. That's really allowing my physical reality to change, and that's allowing me to think differently and to feel differently, you know, emotionally and all the things. So yeah, man, that's all I want to say for y'all. Don't be afraid to change, quite frankly, but also be patient with yourself in the process. Like, extend grace, and know you might have to go through a whole bunch of like, y'all seen what I went through? Y'all look, y'all see these insects, man. You see what I went through. That might be you one day. I'm not wishing it on you, but bugs might be attracted to you, right? Because you're magnetic. So when you know you're magnetic like me, it's gonna be a whole bunch of it's attracted to you, but don't let it stop you. Keep going, push through it. So now I'm about to run to my car and we going, yeah, I'm gonna live out this life. But thank y'all for listening to me. Peace, man, I appreciate it. Ephraim out.